Hi, I'm Tilottama Shom and we are watching an episode of Crew Cut. I'm with Maria Tharakkan and Kirti Kolvankar. Two phenomenally talented costume designers. Their filmography is really staggering. Maidan, Tribhuvan Mishra, Patal Lo, Cats, Mukkabaz, Bareli Ki Barfi, Badhai Do. So you get the drift, right? I mean, it's incredible, right? So thank you guys for being with us on this episode. And I'm very, very excited because I'm a huge fan of the work that you've done and I want to know more about it.
Coming from you, huge compliment. The feelings are very mutual. So let's dive right into it.
I want to start from right from the beginning. Where are you guys from?
I'm from Chiploon. It is a small town in between Bombay and Goa. That's where I come from. And over the years, I've been in Bombay now, so settled here.
I am from Kerala, originally Malayali. Brought up in Delhi, but been in Bombay for a good 20 years, which pretty much is half the life. So Bombay girl now. But yes, Malayali originally.
What drew you to films and in particular to costume design?
I did my designing and then
From where?
I did from JD Institute in Bombay itself. Then I was exploring my chances in different fields and my uncle happened to be in the industry. And then he asked whether you want to try it out. I said, yeah, why not?
So you did a course from JD in costume design?
No, in fashion designing.
But is there a course on costume design in that exists?
At that point, no, it wasn't there.
Actually, it's interesting that you brought this up because it's something that she's really hoping will start getting incorporated.
Yeah. Because when I talk to my friends, some are from art department, some are from camera department, they all have had a formal studies. Whereas for the costume, actually it doesn't have the same format. So that was like, we have learned on our way actually.
Wow.
Actually, a lot of people don't realize that. I mean, when we think of costumes, we think it's all just clothes, right? But there are so many, when you're on a film set, there are so many other technicalities that were never really taught while you're doing a course. Most of the fashion courses now teach you about clothes, teach you about fabrics, teach you about cuts of fabrics and the styles and things, but they don't necessarily teach you clothes in relation to filmmaking. So different camera lenses, different lighting, jitter in fabrics, those things are not really covered so much in courses, which I know it's something that she's really been hoping could start getting incorporated. I do not come from a formal training at all.
What did you study in college?
I studied psychology, which actually did help me quite a bit. I think it really helped figuring out what a character needs, what the crew need, more importantly, those things. But more than actually, again, life experiences, more than the degree that I actually took, I had a whole career in aviation before. So I spent 5 years of my life as a cabin crew. And I think that helped me even more.
Study human psychology?
Exactly that. So I think different temperaments, anticipating people's needs and things like that. In spite of not having a formal background, then what I had to learn on the job was fabrics. I had no idea about clothes. I had no idea. I mean, you're going shopping, of course. We knew how to shop. I used to love telling people, I think we still tell people that we get paid to shop. So I think a lot of people think that that's the dream. Till they actually come here and realize there's so much more to that. Yeah, so I think that way we have very varied backgrounds that has led us to this point right here.
So how did you guys meet?
We were working under the same designer, Niharika Khan, and that's how we started together. We actually worked on a project called Faltu. From there we started.
Yes, I think we both joined Niharika again by fluke. Worked on several projects with her and then we were put onto the same project, which was where we were meeting for the first time, where it was just the two of us pretty much on shoot.
Yeah.
We started off as colleagues, understood that a lot of our work styles, a lot of our beliefs, a lot of our ethics are similar. It was a shoot that was happening in Mauritius, so when you're on an outdoor shoot, you just end up getting a lot more close than you would otherwise.
We were sharing the room also. So
yeah,
we didn't had our escape of each other.
And we really got to know each other and realized we can bear with each other and deal with each other and realize that we really balance each other out. So, that was pretty much our beginning.
Yeah. And I think then it turned into a very thick friendship.
Yeah. You found that you guys shared a similar ethic and a belief system. Could you just share what it was for you?
I think again, since we were working together as assistants and we had seen each other's work styles, I think she's such a hardworking person. I know that when she's saying something, she's really thought it through. She's done her research into it. She's really, weighed out all the pros and cons of a decision that she's taking. So I think with her and me, we realized that she loves the process of prep, the putting the costumes together. And my stronger part is being on set.
So she's the behind the scene of the behind the scene.
Yeah, exactly that. That's not my favorite part because I know ki chalo set pe aake, I know that it'll all fall into place. For me, the true magic happens on set. But I think it was easy for me to believe that because I had the confidence in her that she has figured out the backstory completely. So, she's given me the means to fly free on set. So we really balance each other out. Oh, it's a
Match made in heaven.
It really is a match made in heaven. It really is.
So tell me something. You guys seem to have a great equation so far, and you seem to complement each other really well. How do you deal with differences?
We have an answer to that. We're not very sure if you want to say.
Please do, because otherwise it seems too perfect, like a film we didn't
Talk to each other for a while.
Yeah, we give each other the silent treatment. We do. That happens. Okay, so honestly, that doesn't happen so much. But there have, of course, been times when we are at loggerheads with each other. These are times when we have a great team. A lot of times when we are stuck, we do open it out to the team and see what the team has to say about it because everyone has a logic. I mean, they're not just assistants. They're here. They're stylists in training. They're also, the next generation of people.
They have been with us for over years now.
Yeah,
they know us pretty well as well.
So they know what each of us would like, and then they also know the script, of course. So they weigh in also, and then we see if we can reach a conclusion there. Else, of course, if this is just not getting resolved, then it's a discussion with the director. And then we're pretty open with them, and we're like, listen, she thinks it should be like this. I think it should be like this. We are not being able to come to a consensus. So what do you have to say about it? Because end of the day, it is his overall vision, right?
This is so refreshing for me to hear this, that as HODs and in an industry which is so hierarchical, your process sounds so democratic. When you have a difference in opinion, for you to open it out to your team. I want to know about your team actually. How did you put it together? What does it look like? How many people?
We have I think there are fixed 3 of them which have been with us for over the years now.
We're very lucky to have a set of girls primarily. Yeah. It's actually mostly girls. It's all girls. Who are, sorry guys.
Just claim it, said, apologize for an all-girls team, right?
But it's been amazing because the girls have just become such great friends with each other and with us. It just makes coming to work a lot more fun, right? Make the environment nice, make the work nice, make the ambience nice, and it's fun. So we have our people who've been with us through thick and thin.
And then we hire as per the requirement of the project, how many we need and how.
So beyond the core group.
The core group.
And that comprises of 3 people.
3 to 4.
3 to 4. Yeah.
Depend upon the scale of the project. It's more on that basis.
And the tailors and...
We prefer to stick to our people as much as we can because these are also people who've helped us grow. We've literally been like, Master ji, is wale project pe paise nahi hai. Please, is time paise thode kam le lo. So, when people have gone out of their way to help you move forward, so as much as possible, we try to be dedicated and be loyal to them. Everyone grows together. But again, sometimes requirements change and
it's more also like if you have to customize certain things and which is out of the box, then we go outside.
So how do you pick projects? Is it the script, the director, the production house?
It depends completely. It depends. Sometimes it's script, sometimes it's a set of people that you have worked with. Sometimes it's purely money for that matter. Honestly, not like anything specific, but it's more of everything together.
There has to be something to it,
Like one of the things.
One of the things,
So the money.
It's just something worthwhile. Right?
So that's a true thing.
It's the most honest.
Sometimes it's just literally the money.
Then we work through the rest of it.
Exactly. Sambhal lenge, but sometimes it's like और कुछ मिल नहीं रहा है. There's this really random project that's come along. चलो कर लेते हैं, because at the end of the day घर चलाना है, assistants का घर चलाना है, vendors का घर चलाना है. So you do it, but of course priority is of course given to a script that excites us. Right up there along with the script is the kind of people we're working with.
Moreover, we have got the good scripts. So fortunately, it has been the case with us. And we end up working on a good scripts over the years now.
If not the money, but at least the people and the script have.
It has been more of a script.
Yeah, that way.
But here, people, I think a note to take is, while the scripts may be great, the money may be whatever, but you're moving towards the people. Good people, right? So, how do you read the scripts when you think of a character? Are you thinking first of silhouettes? Are you thinking of texture, color?
Honestly, from a costume standpoint, when I read a script, it's more for the story of what is written.
The narrative
of the. And then, of course, I read it second time to then visualize. Of course, the things do pop up in your head when you're reading the script in the flow. But it's more for the enjoying the script than actually thinking about the job. And then second read is to understand what are the nuances and things that you need to figure out in the script.
Yeah. But we've had scripts that we have read in one go and shut the script and said, oh my God, we have to be a part of this process,
For instance?
For me, it is definitely Patal Lok. For me,
I think Maidan, I would say.
Yeah. So you will hear us saying Patal Lok and Maidan a lot, because those are our babies. Those are also actually perfect examples of budgets being tight, but the script and the people being amusing.
Okay. Let's start with Patal, since you can't
since you can't stop talking about it also. We're dying to rail up also.
How was that? How did it start? You read the script and then?
Patal Lok actually was our very first web series. We had only been doing films and ads before that. I think you went and met Proshit and Saurabh first, because I was on something else. So she went and met them, and first thing she told me is they're really nice people. I was like, chalo, theek hai, okay, but it's a web series, and this was new word. There were only a few web series that had come out and had done really well before the likes of Patal Lok came out. So the process of a web series just seemed to be really intimidating. Already the number of days that a web series takes to shoot, the commitment that you give it. So when we went ahead and we met them again, we were like, chalo nahi, paise kam hai, ye wo. And I remember Saurabh saying ki aap script leke jao. So he gave us the script and he said, read the script and then come back to us. Read the script in one go, and I think both of us said,
it was a fantastic script.
At a script level already, it was so well written, the magic that Sudeep Sharma and team tend to create. It was such a well written script that we said, okay, this is not where we pay attention to budget, to money, whatever. This is something that we really want to be a part of. So we did. So we went back to Saurabh, and Saurabh had this big smile on his face, and he's like, acha laga? And we're like, हाँ, अच्छा लगा, कर लेंगे, चलो ठीक है, पैसे यही हैं, हाँ, ठीक है, कर लेंगे. Again, the whole, in a film, you have like around 10, 12, chalo 15 characters, be it your primary, secondary, tertiary. On a web series, it's around 100. We used to say that. It's like 3 films put together. So
with the budget of half a film.
With the budget of half a film, of course. Of course, but there were so many flavors, costume-wise, character-wise, so many different kinds of characters, so much for us to experiment with, play with, all of it. And it helped that Sudeep, Proshit, Avinash, and their respective teams, the PD, the DOPs, they were all so on board every step of the way. What is amazing about the process of making Patal Lok is that everyone sits together for everything. Otherwise, when we are doing a costume presentation, it's to the director. This was like, okay, everyone comes together. Everyone has to be a part of everything.
The DOP is in the room?
Everybody's in the room. The DOP is in the room, the directors are in the room, the showrunners in the room, the production designers in the room, because end of the day, costume designing has to go hand in hand with production, with production, with camera, with all of it, right? Down to breakdowns, when you're breaking down, it's scheduled in their work plan. Ki chalo, ye 4 din we're going to take out to discuss the entire series ka breakdown. All departments will pitch in and say what their concerns are. So the prep has to be so strong because there are enough issues that come up when you're on shoot. So the stronger your prep is, the easier it is to deal with the problems that are inevitably going to come up on shoot.
What was an interesting research for you, like for Paatal Lok?
Especially when it comes to series like Paatal Lok, is real people. Okay, the biggest difference between styling and character designing is about observing people. Okay, so we very creepily sit staring at people on the roads, and we've had times when we send people, our assistants, ki dekho, he's dressed really nicely, chupke se ek photo le lo, ye wo.
This TikTok.
Yeah, you had times when we're walking down the market and we're like, listen, that guy is dressed so interestingly, chalo theek hai, ek photo le lete hain. So we have our bank of references which might not necessarily pertain to this one project, but it might be for, at some point in life somewhere. So we like going as real because the lines between real and hyper-real now are getting a little blurry.
What is real, hyper-real?
So that's the thing. Our definition of hyper-real, okay, I'm sure everyone has their own definition of it, and how we like to do it rather is base it on true people as they would be in their real life, but go a couple of notches higher.
Bareilly was more hyper-real at that time.
For that time.
And Mukkabaz was more real. Be it costume-wise, be it the whole setup-wise, everything-wise, it was more hyper-real because we were showing Bareilly in Lucknow. So the space and the scale increases.
When we shot Bareilly, for the time that we shot Bareilly, nobody in Bareilly actually dressed like the way we put Ayushmann. We put him in like cooler jackets and things like that.
He was in leather jackets.
He was not because Ayushmann wanted to wear a cooler jacket.
No, because it was more of a character demand than it was not actor specific. It was more character specific. Even the way Kriti Sanon was dressed, it was not the way maybe the girls were dressed at that particular time in Bareilly, but
we decided to go a little notch higher.
Notch higher.
It's just a little above what would be actual ground reality.
How do you decide that it needs to be hyper-real? I know that you said it's based on the production, but is that in conversation with the director?
Yes,
is it just the tone is a bit elevated from reality?
A lot of times the directors say that yes, we are basing it in a real world, but we do want it to be a little bit more appealing to the youth, a little bit more colorful than it would be, a little bit more glossier than the hard reality that is. It's the difference between a Bareilly Ki Barfi and exactly that, a Bareilly Ki Barfi and a Mukkabaz, because the tone, the color palette, although it's supposed to be based in the same place, the tones are completely different. The treatment is completely different.
The way it was shot was completely different as well.
Yeah. I mean, be it, for example, Zoya's character in Mukkabaz and Kriti's character in Bareilly.
Zoya's character was more a small town, more to herself, whereas Kriti Sanon was more tomboyish and more outgoing, free space girl. But they had a similar similar space that they were living in. Hence, that difference you can see between these two characters.
So Mukkabaz was consciously, I think Anurag wanted us to go very real, very authentic to the space, whereas in Bareilly they had asked us to hype it up a little bit.
So let's circle back to Paatal Lok.
Happily.
How did you collaborate with Sudeep to come up with the looks?
Okay, so again, when we read a script, first step is to not get a brief from the director and writers. And we usually tell them that, and now it's pretty much become a norm. We prefer to do our own research, our own references, put forward our vision of what we've taken away from the script, and have a discussion with the director to see whether it matches the world or not, right? After that is a discussion and see, okay, how much do we need to change it? I don't really remember any space where they're like, no, this is not working. Because what was great that they understood is it's not just about the references that you've put in the presentation. A lot of times that changes based on the actor who is cast, whether they'll be able to carry off this look or not. That changes on the basis of what you actually get in the market. Because we're so hands-on, a lot of times we take inspiration from what we have actually seen in the market. We love shopping in Delhi. Delhi has so much flavor, so much character, helps the budget.
Even though you guys live in Bombay.
Yeah. Yeah, so Patal Look was one place where we insisted we have to go to Delhi. We prefer as much as possible not to do malls, not to do, unless the character requires it. But again, when you go to a place like Delhi, for example, you get so many options of, be it fabrics, be it sweaters, be it, there's a lot more flavor that controversially Bombay does not necessarily have. So for Patal Look, we were very sure ki...
कहाँ दिल्ली में? It's favorite spot or is it a
I think it's, no, it's everywhere. Great. Chandni Chowk, it is Lajpat Nagar, it is Sarojini, various markets. Because every market has their own flavor.
Yeah, a lot of them are radiowalas, a lot of them are export surplus places. So you get a bit for everybody. A lot of times it is clothes by the kilo. A lot of times it might be secondhand clothes. It might be all of it. So, we prefer to go literally to the streets and pick up things because a world like Patal Lok required it. 80% of the costumes came from literally roadside places. So we had these lovely printed corduroy shirts that we'd seen a whole lot of it. And we said, this is so much fun. This is so much personality. Let's get it. Let's see who we can put in it. And eventually this one character came along and we're like, you know what? And it just so happened to be that it was a good fit also for that person. So a lot of times the markets determine the look of the character also. So creators are never set in stone. You have to be open to the fact that things are changing. It's a process, which was great that the likes of Sudeep and the directors were very understanding of that process. It helped that we had actors who were also understanding of that process and they were like, chalo theek hai. Jaideep, for example, for Hathiram's character, we had done a lot of these, these mixed fabric wale shirts. Okay, so they're not like pure cotton shirts, they're poly shirts because end of the day, the kind of, his wife would be like, chalo, it's a norm that these are quick drying, they last longer, He's not the one buying the clothes, it's the wife who has to wash it, iron it, whatever. So what would she do? So she's doing easy to maintain wale kapde. Now, the problem with that is Polly gets hot.
And Jaideep feels very hot.
Jaideep feels hot. So now, kapde ban gaye the and Jaideep was like, chalo, theek hai, all right, okay, I'll wear it because the logic is correct. Now, we're also showing Patal Lok is set in winters. Okay, so where he is like, ab main sweater bhi pehnu uske upar. And you're like, haan, to pehenna padega. So he was also very nice ki chalo, achhe sweaters laye ho, it's very correct as per the character. So he would wear it at the start of the scene. And then he'd be like, chalo, humne established kar liya ki winter hai. Then he would take it off and he would hold it in his hand. So we're still showing ki it's still very much winter, but he's not going to wear it because that man, he's not being difficult. He actually feels really hot. So that was, again, you have to be able to change your creators, not just me, the directors, all of them. Now it's an additional prop in his hand, So now he's a little limited क्योंकि sweater दिखाना है.
Sweater and now gun भी निकालना है तो sweater भी.
Exactly. So there have been times when Sudeep has in fact changed the series of events and has said कि चलो ठीक है, he can't have this long continuities in Patal Lok. He can't have that in his sweater, in his hand the whole time. So चलो ठीक है, इस point पे हम दिखा देंगे कि वो जो bag है उसके अंदर वो डाल रहा है and then everyone is, peaceful. Yeah. Again, it's a collaboration. Things have to happen organically and that's what makes it a lot more natural, right? So being open to it just brings out a lot more naturalness to the character.
Kirti, Maidan is your baby. It's a period.
Yeah.
Film, costumes, 9 different national teams, sepia color palette. Who do you collaborate with to decide a color palette? Is the DOP in this particular project or the production designer?
It was all together, I would say.
Like Patal Lok,
yes,
you guys?
Yes. We used to sit together. We used to spend, we had 100 of same color swatches. If I'm, for an example, if it is a red color, and we used to dye them in a different shades of red and sit together to figure out that particular red which needs to go on the screen so that it looks correct in the period that we were showing it. To the T of that, we had done it together. So yes, the DOP matters, the PD matters, director matters. Everybody together syncing in is also important because there is a lens that DOP is looking through. And to understand that color theme and, get the colors right is very important.
So of Maidan. What was the color theme?
It was more like I would say, older colors that we were getting into and
deeper
colors.
So when you say older colors, as in colors that didn't exist?
I would say for an example, like an old rose color, so that kind of
English colours.
English colors, yeah. So starting, we started with the research.
Your favorite part.
Yeah, absolutely love the process.
And I think that took how many years, the research? Quite a while.
It
Months
took
and months.
6 to 8 months. Yeah, of research, because when we talk about football in India, it was not like cricket. I had no knowledge of football till the time I did Maidan. And then to understand the players and their legacy was very important to before even I start the questions, because we were talking about heroes. We were just not talking about normal people. It took a lot of time and hard work to get the information, because it was not available on the nets. It was not available in libraries also. We had to dig in to figure out which particular magazine we need to refer to get few pictures of those players. So hence we went to Calcutta for our research. And
There are like archivals.
there's archive, yeah. So there is this particular magazine called Sports and Pastime, which existed at that point, which had more of information about all the players. Not information, I would say more of their pictures you get to see also. So the
So
matches
you went
they
to
had-
Calcutta, you went to a library to access this magazine.
Yeah.
And then when we got the pictures, we realized they're all in black and white. So that's not helping costume people at all. That was the next process.
Yeah, it was decoding the colors was another.
So how did you decode the colors?
So basically, especially when we are talking about Asian Games, we did get the footage from the association that existed. It was all in black and white. So no team we could figure out any color which was the color they existed. So then we started doing our research on that, like in Olympics, what uniforms they wore over the years. So for example, say Korea. So Korea was white and red all the time. So that's how we figured out our colors with each team. And that's how we arrived to what we have showed.
I think you had gone and visited some of the players also.
So we did meet the old players like Chuni Goswami, PK Banerjee. We have visited their home. They have offered their pictures, and we actually got a jacket from them, blazer from them.
We actually
And it
Them,
was
they're one of the players.
they're one of the players.
Franco.
Franco gave us the blazer.
I mean, over the years, the colors faded, right?
It was a khaki jacket that I got in hand, and now you can't go wrong. Over the
You
color.
got the actual color.
You have the blazer that they have worn in that time, so it can't be wrong. We opened up the scene to see that whether it is the same color, and it looked that it was that particular color. Hence, we were doing the end credits before we did the actual shoot with the players.
So
we were
Megan end credits has actual footage of the actual players still. So we shot that first.
Then we made the blazers. We had the sample. We did it, processed, and went for the shoot. The other player, Nimbalram, we went to his house and we showed it that we have done this. He said, "This is bullshit because you got the color wrong."
They're all ready for the shoot to happen. Turns out the color is wrong.
So then I said, "No, sir, but we have received this blazer and Franco has given us," and he said that this is what it is. He called up him and he said, "You have given a wrong information to the timer."
How did you figure out the final thing then?
So then we figured out from the archives again, going back to the Olympic Games, that this particular jacket in this particular year we wore in that match. Hence, we figured out that this might be the color. Then later on, we got one more jacket from another player, and it was the same color.
It was the
which
correct color that we showed.
ocean blue color that we
Eventually
showed.
did.
Yeah.
So basically, the end credits jacket and the jacket used
You can see it's more green than blue.
That was Franco's jacket.
That is Franco's jacket, yeah.
God, never look at costumes the same again, right? But that's incredible.
I have one question. So there'll probably be archival footage not of their day-to-day lives, but of their the matches or their victory ceremony, or so they'll be wearing official clothes given to them by the thing. So then, how do you go from that to expanding it to their day-to-day life?
The kind of stories that we heard about them, or the kind of narrative that each character had. So Balram came from a very small town in Hyderabad. He was picked up by Mr. Rahim, and then he became a football player in national team that he played in. So the graph of that man was so interesting because he had no money at all. So he used to play football only for the passion. Rahim actually offered him money. Just he said that you come and play and take this money every day from me. That's how he started the journey of playing football. So the graph you can see from the aging of the clothes to when he becomes a player. So that whole journey is very visible with the background that he comes from, and it helps to figure out the aging or how good or how bad the clothes are going to be in this particular frame of that particular character.
You have didn't you do something with his chappals?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Tell me.
His economic status was extremely low, so we had to give him those broken stitched chappals that normally people used to wear at that particular time. Unless you use it for the years,
Yeah.
rubber can't be aged, So went back, watched few videos to understand how to age the rubber. So then I realized that it's not possible unless you cut the rubber. So we started cutting the chappal half and then processing it so that it gets a shape, right? It gets uneven shape when you wear it for a very long time.
Your foot kaprin and
Yeah.
it have a extra ghisa.
So that whole process we did, and then we got this guy who does
Sharpens the knife there. Or what are those guys called? The ones who sharpen the knife with a stone.
Who sharpens the knife with
Yeah,
stone?
that guy. Exactly that one.
We used that process for the gathering of the chappal as well. So you get that unevenness and
Otherwise, when you're trying to break rubber, it breaks away. It doesn't necessarily, as opposed to when it's withered away, your imprint or whatever it is. So they had to literally grind it against the stone to help it take its shape,
So as you see the Maidan, everything is made. Nothing is like bought.
Yeah.
Even the shoes were made. It was leather made shoes with studs on it. It
from
was nice.
Calcutta?
No, we actually got shoes made first from Punjab and then from Agra. So the first lot of shoes came to us. The design was approved. Went back and forth on that design, and finally we set the one shoe design that we wanted. And we just started the shoot with it. And I just get a call immediately after the first take. And I figured that the studs are coming off. So that was like I didn't know how to fix it. So then we got a local mochi on set to fix those studs every day. And that's how we continued to shoot.
So I think Mochi was the most important person on that set, I think they were rehearsing already, the actors, the players were already rehearsing in studs, nickel rim and, stress situation already, because that's literally the start of the shoot and you have this long thing to shoot. But
It does matter. Like the balance of the studs changes how you run.
Yes,
If it's not
exactly.
quite
Yes,
right,
yes.
then it's very odd to run.
Yeah.
No, which was, I think, very important for something like Maidan, for us to realize that now these are not just actors wearing a costume. Maidan was one place.
And it was not even a prop. They actually had to wear those shoes to play those matches. So you have to make sure that they are comfortable. And it was actually nailed in. It was not even like there was a screw or any of that. It was actually nailed in. So you have to make sure that it doesn't reach to the actor's skin. So it was a lot of back and forth on those techniques also to figure out the
the nail and all of that also.
Do you fight for how much time you need for prep, or is it something that they agree?
There are a lot of times, like a project like Maidan, I think production is already aware that it would take a considerable amount of time. So I think when they get into a project of this scale, they usually do dedicate a decent enough time for it. And a lot of times they call us and they say, Chalo, theek hai, we are planning to start shoot at this point. When do you want to get on board? So, there are a lot of times when, not always, but a lot of times they do ask us, and then we're like, we would prefer to do it so that this much time we'll just go and research, this much time we'll just go and trial and error. Sometimes it might be, we're not necessarily doing anything substantial, but we're just figuring it out. Sometimes you also need to figure it out. So I think in this case, they were aware that time lagega.
How much time it will take?
Quick question to both of you. Can you tell what a person is like seeing the clothes they're wearing?
We prefer not to judge. We prefer not
But
to.
you can make out with at least I won't say like you can go deep down, but at least a basic understanding you can get.
I mean, more than the clothes they're wearing, maybe the way they're carrying it off rather. Because again, now everyone's trying to find their own style or trying to make a new style, moving with the trends or whatever. But I think more with the way they're carrying it, I think to a large extent you can figure.
So costumes, of course, for an actor is completely transformative, right? You step into it and you know like half the work is done. So in Tribhuvan Mishra, for instance, you know, with the way you dress Bindi or any, so many of the characters, how do you make these, choices in particular, let's say with Tribhuvan Mishra, where Bindi has this fantastical life and then this everyday life?
So Bindi was actually honestly a bit of a struggle for us, okay, out of all the other characters, because Bindi has a lot going on, but nothing going on also. You know, she had so many layers to her character. You know, she is well-to-do, but, there is a sense of repression. She is a romantic at heart, but is not really getting, the love is not reciprocated so much. There were so many directions that Bindi could go in. So, first we started off, ki chalo theek hai, you are someone who looks lovely in whatever you wear. So we said, okay, let's play with that and let's have fun with all kinds of styles and, go into Western. So in fact, initially we had gone to a lot of these, Delhi has a lot of these little boutique shops, in like the little outskirts of Delhi and things, a lot of these Facebook marketplaces and things like that. So we had found a lot of these smaller boutiques and we had sourced quite a few costumes.
Markets.
Yeah, okay, so I'm not remembering what they're called, but the people who did this, that mouse color, laddu color, looking...
Just looking like a wow.
So from before they went viral, we had found their boutique and they used to do these Facebook, they used to sell their products on Facebook. So we tracked them down, we went to their store, we found a lot of these really interesting crochet cord sets and a lot of really fun things that we thought this is perfect for Bindi. But Puneet he's like, let's keep her. There's something really nice about a woman in a sari. There's something very nice about Bindi being in a sari. In the sari world, play around with whatever you want to, experiment with whatever you want to. So we said, okay, fine, let's go in that. End of the day, she is in this house that is a very male-dominated kind of a house and things, So let's keep her in the sari. We had that one Mangalsutra for you with the T in it, which could eventually, as backstories that we make, कि पहले तो टीकाराम के नाम से, eventually Tribhuvan के नाम से है, ये वो, And you had the pyre, So even when Bindi's character starts getting comfortable with Tribhuvan and moves to Western wear, we still kept that Mangalsutra, because there are some things that are, part of you, that no matter how much you flourish in life or whatever, those few things don't change. So Tribhuvan really taught us a lot because a lot of sensitivity was required. You've got so much intimacy going on. How do you handle that without it being sleazy, without it being uncomfortable especially in sensitive scenes, to be able to make them equally comfortable. So Tribhuvan was one place that we were always on set, especially when there is a sensitive scene going on. In spite of the fact that I know that my assistants can handle it really well, I wanted to be there just to know that, okay, fine, there is somebody else over there who's thinking only about you, not thinking about how you're going to look on the camera. Okay, we want a little bit more extra cleavage showing, but are you going to be comfortable with that extra cleavage showing or not, whether the scene requires it or not? So I think Tribhuvan taught us a lot of sensitivity, a lot of so much fun with characters, because again, Tribhuvan himself goes through such a change. It was a discussion, does this mean he's going to change his entire wardrobe now that he's making money? No one really does that. But we show that his clients have specific requirements from him. So through that, we're like, chalo, theek hai, thode se the clothes kind of like change a little bit more because now he has to please his clients and look appealing for them. Printed shirt hai kahin to. So we're showing to khareed raha hai because the clients are asking for it. But he himself is still very much a family man. And so, the turmoil that each character has to go through has to come out in the kind of clothes that we put on him.
Now, what can you tell us about the upcoming projects that you are part of?
So we have some really interesting projects coming out.
Yeah.
We have
Mandala Murders.
Ground Zero with the lovely Zoya. We have, with Red Chillies, we have this thing called Kartavya with Saif Ali Khan in it. And right now we're in the process of working on Delhi Crime Season 3 and Kora Season 2. So why we bring this up is because we're very excited about the very wide range of things that we have been a part of and that we are going to be a part of. So good things in the pipeline, and we are excited to be exactly where we are right now.
And the people I spoke to, they want to work with you again, and they actually said things like, I hope we get a chance to work again, and that's...
No, we are very happy to work with the same people.
people.
If the
That
people,
people.
yeah, we found our people.
So we love you as costume designers. Is there a costume designer you love?
I think I was very inspired by Arjun Basim.
Yeah.
I think he had changed the face of the costumes overall in the Hindi cinema.
And what a fun guy.
What difference did he bring in?
I think he got more believable characters.
And he wasn't afraid to experiment with new looks, and he's been quite a trend.
Because there was a
Setter
set
also.
formula at that point particularly. And to break through that and, make your own way through it. I hats off to him for that. And it was very inspiring. Yeah.
Is there any advice that you would like to leave for younger designers who are coming into the industry?
I don't think so there is a set format to anything we do, because every project has their own challenges, their own graph, and the way you execute. So I think it should be more, you need to be open about what experience you're going to have.
I think no amount of advice that we give will actually paint the true story.
So we also figured out our journey on our own.
But something you wished you knew.
Okay, so if you're coming in, know the differences now. It's very easy to do your research. It's very easy to know what appeals to you. So that we have a lot of people who come to us and then realize that it's not all malls and Shah Rukh Khan and, beautiful clothes. It's a lot of getting your hands dirty. So I think, and it's a lot of running around. It's a lot of not being glamorous at all. Yeah, you have to have an adventurous spirit, because you will either really love it here or you will hate it here. There is no in between. Give it a little bit of time before you decide whether this is your life's calling or not, but come
With
prepared.
open mind.
Yeah, come with an open mind.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you for having us and letting us voice out a lot of things that I think we would in general talk about. But now that, I mean, it was quite a learning experience for us also to be able to discuss these things and understand how our process has also been. We've been through the process, but not necessarily discussed.
Never spoken about.
So thank you for giving us this opportunity.
Very glad that Jim and Zoya created this opportunity for us. And thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.